watch. Wake up. You got fire to watch.
This is Pacho. Do you read me?
Be advised, you are coming in weak and unreadable.
Say again, Con Tower. This is Pacho. Do you read me? Over.
Pacho, this is Con Tower. I read you Lima Charlie.
Com Tower. Request permission to launch and commence the field op. Over.
Stand by. Pacho, permission granted. Say again, permission granted.
Roger that. Launching podcast in 3, 2. You are now entering the field op with your host, Pacho Correa, Chief Warrant Officer 3, United States Marine Corps retired. Get some. Hurrah!
Get some. Hurrah! What's going on, everybody? Another week is upon us. Baby Friday is here, or Friday Night's Eve, as I like to call it. But goddamn, thank God it's almost the weekend. Hey, we got a great show for you, everybody. But before we get started, why don't we get all the pleasantries out of the way? Hey, this show is brought to you by the great folks of Primerica. Have you ever thought what that financial number is for you to retire, or maybe to get to where you want to be, whether saving for college or preparing yourself in your finances and such later on in life? Well, the folks at Primerica can help you out. All you got to do is just click right there on the show description for today's show. It'll take you to a hyperlink. Put your information there. Somebody there will school you and give you just some information. No commitment, no nothing. If anything, it'll be some great info that you can think about, and because those decisions are important nowadays. Okay. Also, we are now sponsored, as I mentioned before. The great folks from the VA are now sponsoring our show. So here is an awesome message from Mr. Mike Richmond.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
Hey, thanks, Mike Richmond, for that awesome message. Hey, I know I keep saying it all the time, everybody, but you need to do yourself, the justice and get all the benefits that you can out of the VA. There's some really good organizations out there, and the reason I'm saying this today is because the other day this week I was talking with a fellow veteran at work, and basically they never started any of their benefits for whatever reasons. Life gets in the way, that's fine. Nonetheless, it's never too late. You got to do your due diligence and go in the system. The website is really friendly now. It's I know back benefits used to be kind of clunky. Nonetheless, these are your benefits, that because the government got its pound of flesh out of you, so you need to get what you've earned, duly earned, and work with a VSO, a veteran service organization, so that way that we could get you your claims. If you need to be pointed in the right direction, please feel free to reach out to our show, and we'll connect you with somebody, or I'll do my best to guide you. I've helped other veterans before, but nonetheless, please don't cut yourself short. Okay. In addition to this, hey, this show wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the great American Constitution. This show is built on that platform. So what do I mean by that? Hey, anything that we say here is because we wouldn't have any of the rights and freedoms, like the freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and all the other great things that the Constitution brings to us as our God-given right as an American. So if you like what you hear, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, and let everybody know about our show, because at the end of the day, support your local podcaster. I think 2 years running now, we've passed some really good information on this show. And last but not least, the show wouldn't be here and what it is today not only if it was for you, but also the folks at sitchradio.com. So please go to their website and subscribe and listen to one of their shows. If you don't like this one, that's okay. But subscribe to one of their shows because they got a lot of good info. And so we want to just shout out to Brian Colburn and the rest of the crew at sitchradio.com. All right. I think that's all the pleasantries for now, folks. Well, let's kick off this bad boy. Excuse me. So I know you guys have. I know I've talked about this book again. Think and Grow Rich. I mean, miss this guy. I just got done reading this book all over again. And each time each time that I read it, I discover something of a tidbit or something new with it. This type of book right here is not a book that you would. It's for in the sense of entertaining, like you're reading a story or it's an adventure or whatever. It kind of is, I guess, to me, but it's a manual and as my fellow jarheads, it's a pair of instructions on how to get from point A to point B. And one area that it talks about a lot was on the power of auto suggestion. And what he talks about is that this individual, Napoleon Hill, basically this guy, in my opinion, this gentleman was way ahead of his time. What do I say that? Because some of the things that he says here, I mean, and even the concepts, people weren't even applying them or thinking of. And again, as I mentioned in the past, the common denominator amongst every person that is successful or has been very successful in life. I mean, you throw a name out there, millionaires, whatever the case may be, they've all read this book right here. Now, one thing is reading a book. Excuse me. One thing is reading a book, and another thing is applying the concepts of the book. Of the book. So, there's thousands of how tos and self help type of books out there, on Amazon or on Audible and whatever it is that the platform that you like to listen to. But you got to apply the concepts because you're just gonna be an educated reader, and which is fine. I mean, reading is fundamental and it's one of the greatest things that you can do to stimulate your brain. But nonetheless, you have to apply the concepts. But this individual studied, many people, and one thing that when he in the and in the subject of autosuggestion is that folks like Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, Mr. Ford, and everybody else, all those folks, they were able to tap into autosuggestion. And me over the years, I've come to realize that the power of autosuggestion can be very powerful in the sense that you where your energy where your focus goes, energy flows. So sorry, that was fucking Siri listening to me again. Sorry about that. But where your energy goes, where your focus goes, your energy flows. What do I mean by that? Is that if you're a very negative person, and oh well, why me? Why do I do this? Or why do bad things happen to good people? Those are the type of scenarios and dilemmas and even situations that you're going to attract. I'm sure that if I was to put a poll out there as to how many people you've already, like that, at least one or two people, and I can guarantee there's one in every family, or once a person that you at your work, a person at your within your network, or somebody that just basically that fun sponge. But the auto suggestion is basically those individuals, because scientifically they've already proven you can actually give yourself an ailment or a heart attack or any of those things, uh, just by the power of thought. I mean, if you don't believe me, I mean, uh, you can go ahead and Google the power of the placebo. And these studies were actually done in the Civil War time frame when they ran out of morphine, because that was the only way that they used to be able to normal people back in the day, is that one time they ran out of morphine. So, the doctor said, "Hey, I'm just, I'm applying this stuff to you. It's going to be good. You're not going to feel a thing." And they were able to perform, surgery. So just with the auto suggestion, just by planting that seed, they were be able to tap into, that area of the brain where the individual is like, okay, yeah, I'm not feeling anything. So the mind is very powerful, and we're just barely tapping. Now studies are getting more prevalent in regards to, um, the power of the mind and the things that one can accomplish. So, on social media, I've read in the past, and I've, through my Facebook feed and whatever case, I've seen, there's one that it always comes up, and every time it does, I always, hit like, or I reshare it. But the one that comes up all the time is the one with Bruce Lee saying that, don't ever put yourself down, not even as a joke, because your body can't tell the difference. So if you've ever, body shamed yourself, you've ever put yourself down, oh, I'm so stupid, oh, darn, I can't believe I'm such a, dot dot dot, whatever the case may be. If you've ever found yourself doing any of those things, your body can't tell the difference, and you're actually doing more harm than good. Words are very, very powerful. So that's why you have to be careful what comes out of your mouth and what you say to yourself. I think that the older the older I find myself, or I guess you could say the more mature I find myself, it's the less I find myself acting out to certain situations. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I still fall short on the mark, and I guess you could say I sin in the sense that sometimes I still, you know I do react to situations. However, I'm more conscious, and so I catch my more than often. I tend to catch myself saying, "Hey, whoa, that's not like that," because your mind goes into this distortion, uh, and kind of distorts your thought process. And, well, what if they're doing this? What if, or blah blah blah, or this or that? So you get distorted again. Your mind is very powerful, so you have to be careful, your words. So as I've gotten older, uh, I tend to check myself a little bit more often, like, whoa, that's not the case, or is this really true? As And I know I when I had, Dr. Yvonne on the show, about a year or some change ago, you have to, now I tend to just put it all against the jury in my head, saying, well, how true is this? Is this by me going into this thought process? What good is it gonna? Is it gonna? Is is it gonna do me any good, or is it gonna be just harm me? And in the sense that it's gonna take up real estate in my head and just take me out of the moment and put me in a in a crappy mood. Um, that's why sometimes, and I know, the wife and I, when I tend to go quiet a lot of times, and it's just because I'm in my head, again, putting stuff against the jury and battling against myself, in the sense, like, okay, I got to process through this. And we're she knows me now to the point where she gives me my own space, in so that I can work those things out in my head, and I can, better able to communicate myself. Because at the end, the last thing you want to do is react to a situation, and, where we lash out. I mean, we can choose that road, and that's fine. However, or we can, work it all out, sort out the feelings and all those other things before, because if you, again, when we're younger, we're just like, and start knife handing, and all this stuff. It's really easy to do that. At the end of the day, is, you fired all those shots, and those are rounds downrange, and whether they hit, again, I'm just trying to militarize it, where whether they're hitting center mass, or they're outside of the target, and you're all over the white. Those are rounds that you're not going to get back. And people will forget how what you said to them, and or what you, or even what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So, and the same thing goes to yourself, is that, and if you don't believe me, go ahead and start, getting your head, those of you, because I'm, again, we, a lot of us here in this forum who are, subscribe to the shows, I know a lot of you have your things that you deal with, your personal battles, and when you get in your head, and then before you know it, boom, the anxiety goes off. And that's a lot of times this, because we're in here, and that auto suggestion, oh my god, what if this, what if that, and blah blah blah. And so, and before you know it, you're at Inland Valley Memorial Hospital, where they already know you on a first name basis, and they're like, oh hey, you're back again, what's going on. And yeah, and obviously they're going to treat you nice and kindly, because at the end of the day, TRICARE is going to pay for it, or the VA, or whoever. Somebody's going to pay that bill. But now you're just going to lose that time, and that time frame at the hospital, and all those hours, yeah, because you got into your head, you went down a rabbit hole, and that you lost time, and that's time that you could be dedicating to other things, like getting yourself ahead, getting yourself, building yourself physically and mentally, to get to a better place. And you're right, Dan, 100%. Humans are emotional creatures. Yes, that is, and because of the simple fact that basically what makes us different from animals is that the ability that we can reason. That's why our frontal cortex of our brain, it's the biggest one, and that's a double-edged sword, because it's able, it allows to think logically, and obviously solve complex problems. But on the other flip side, it helps us create complex problems that we just get into our heads, and forget about it. Pretty much, again, you end up at Inland Valley Hospital. Shout out to everybody at Inland Valley in Wildomar, California, for always being there for me. So it is very important that we have to, yes, as you said, be intelligent and be able to control our emotions, so that way it allows our decisions to not to be make decisions on a whim. In other words, based on that moment. And you're right again, Dan, as we said in the past, and when you and I have had several talks on this, as well as you've heard me say, to you listeners, you've heard me say this in the show, is that you have to, in a way, kind of Spock yourself. Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. The Mr. He's Vulcan, in the sense that we got to be able to rationalize with our head, and then put, if there's things that we have to put against trial, against the jury, for them to say, nope, is this real, is this not, and work it all, go through that work process, so that way we make better decisions. Because somebody once told me, hey, you never make decisions when you're super ecstatic, woohoo, yes, we're gonna go, and we're gonna go streaking, or whatever. And you also don't make decisions when you're emotionally, or basically when you're super sad, because obviously, at those, you got to be able to think of everything with a level head. We have to be able to catch ourselves and use the tools and resources, and coming back circle, using auto suggestion. I've been able to tap into that. The more I've done research, the more I've read, and the more I've through the things that, in the issues that I've worked through the service, and traumatic events that happened to me growing up and such. I've been able to work through it, and now I rationalize things better, and you know tap into that power, in the sense that if I'm struggling with something, or if I'm, for example, I've been, this past year, this has been a year of, how can I put it, kind of not renaissance, but educating myself, and rediscovering different things. And what I found is that retraining yourself, or being open to allow more information in your brain, because oftentimes, more than often, I've heard people my age, maybe a little older, and or even way young. Oh, I'm too old to dot 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 to learn that, or I'm too old to do this, or I don't have time to do XYZ. Look, at the end of the day, is that yes, you do have time, because if you have time to stream, the greatest American hero, again, I'm putting myself on blast as well. Or some of the shows on Roku or Netflix, whatever, you have time to do whatever. So you got to be able to sacrifice and use and don't be negative where, oh man, I'm never gonna get this. One of the reasons why I've been able to get all these different licenses in the finance industry now is through basically being my own cheerleader. Because while my wife is, man, you know, she is fantastic and she's my greatest supporter, my best cheerleader. At the end of the day, she's not the one taking the test. It's this guy. She's not the one doing, all those things. I'm the one who has to basically, put the time and effort to do my due diligence and make shit happen. At the end of the day, I mean, that's what it all boils down to. So yeah, you can have the greatest support system, but what is that you yourself are doing, and what's holding you back? And there's 6 basic fears, and this is in this book. One, because we all have every type of, all these fears, and these are the things that are our own showstoppers. Like Joe Dispenza says, hey, showstoppers for anybody is the body, the environment, and time. The body, oh, I feel like this, I feel like that, oh, because I grew up like this, or because him, or because of her, or I don't have time, whatever case may be. But in this book, he also talks, Napoleon Hill's the fear of poverty. People are afraid of being poor. So, somebody I know growing up in my household, that was my mom's number one worry. Oh, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to do this. And so thoughts like that is what keep you stuck, or the fear of criticism. And again, this book was written, I mean, at the turn of the 19th century. But think about it nowadays. I mean, if you're afraid of or well, criticism is not an issue. No, it is. Go ahead and scroll through your social feed. How many of your friends or your fake friends, let's just say those contacts on there, how many of them are taking a picture, look at Instagram or TikTok, showing all these videos of living this extravagant lifestyle? Again, distortion, and the things that they're showing on there and trying to portray a lifestyle that a lot of these people are in, dead up to their waters, or whatever the case may be. Because we don't want to be criticized. We all want to be liked. We all want us, people to hit that like button, and we're just trying to live for somebody else. Or the fear of ill health. I know, again, putting myself on blast here, that that was one of my things. I don't know for the life of me why I became so obsessed years ago. And my family doesn't have any heart issues. I eat right. I do exercise. We're all gonna have to die someday. I mean, that is the bottom line. And we're all gonna have to go. You choose how you choose how you go. But at the end of the day, we're all gonna go. Nonetheless, I don't know why I program myself like, oh shit, I'm having heart issues. Not once have I been prescribed with any of that stuff. However, I mean, and then it became so, and I started giving myself anxiety, and that's how I ended up on many occasions. In addition to obviously, and not putting the blame. Yes, PTSD is a factor, and it's something that a lot of us here on this forum live with. But nonetheless, we can't just put the sole blame on that. You got to put the blame on yourself. So because of that, I put myself on, through that rabbit hole as well. And that one thing, ill health, in regards to that, I know several people, and it's much easier to throw a pill in your mouth and, oh, this is gonna make me better. I mean, that person that lives, if you that has a cabinet full of pills for every type of ailment, and 90% of the time, it's because it's done by the self. Or there's a fear of loss of love or of someone. We're all trying to live vicariously, or oh, this. Even if you listen to any song from any time frame, oh, I can't live without you, I'll die without you, this, all this other crazy shit that again, society, we've made it okay. Doesn't matter whether it's today or was it 200 years ago, it's still the same thing. Society has made us believe that you got to take this pill, you got to look this way, you got to be there with a certain partner, when all you need is just that someone that makes you feel whole and completes you. Or no, I'll go, because no one can complete you but yourself. You have is that person enhances those good traits and habits, and helps you also to work through those things, through the bad times as well. So the fear of losing someone, that those are things that also keep us where we're at. The fear of old age. Again, this book is written way back when. I mean, look at now how. And hey, there's nothing wrong with plastic surgery. Hey, shit, go ahead. I mean, hell, if I could, if I need to do a little nip and tuck, hey, it's all about. But I'm doing it for me, and that's it. I'm not doing it for anybody else or looking old. I mean, no, I will say this. A few years ago, this is when I first retired. I mean, I started getting gray hairs. I mean, after Iraq, but for a while, I tried the whole what's that shit that you buy at the grocery store just for men. I tried that, and I kind of felt nothing against no, nothing against Gene Simmons, but if you've seen Gene Simmons, his TV show and whatever, I mean, you could tell clearly that hey, that's not the hair color. But I felt after a couple of months of trying it, and my daughter and my wife pretty much saying, hey, you need to cease and desist what you got going there. I've come to, hey, you know what, the gray hair is okay. So you know, a lot of us, I'm not afraid of old age. I mean, I think I've gotten a lot better and with the experience that as I've gotten older. Yeah, it sucks that I've had multiple surgeries and the ailments, or in the sense some of the pains that come with age. But nonetheless, I mean, to me, those pains, and even this knee surgery that I had, those are stories that my body can tell, or I can tell to somebody that, hey, you know what, I've worked hard, I've played hard, and each one has a story behind it. And last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, the fear of death is another big fear that we have. And that I too, at times, have struggled with it. Why do we have all these fears, and that we have to struggle at times, in the sense that uh you know what is it? Well, because it's the unknown. It's the unknown. We don't know what's on the other side. It's an uncontrolled. We can theorize. uh we can theologize, in the sense that, hey, when I go, the big guy is gonna, he's gonna greet me there. There's gonna my place on his right side, blah blah blah, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we are all made out of energy. There's no way that, and you could be an atheist, and that's fine. But there's no way that this is just it. If I can sit here inside this body, this thing, and think in my head and rationalize and just sort out problems and talk with my counsel, so to speak. There's no way that this is just that, hey, once we're boom, we're in the ground, that's it, we're done. So because we are all made out of energy and matter, and energy is constant. Energy it's all around us. So there's no way that this is it. you you know the power of suggestion, and again, I keep saying, we're just barely scratching the surface on the things that we can accomplish. This last year has been a year of discovery at the same time for me, in the sense that I've been able to do things and accomplish things on the mental level, things that I thought, that at times I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this, but no, hey, I got this, I can do this. It's kind of like the little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And a lot of great people in past history, they were able to tap into that and achieve many great things. A lot of people, successful people, have been able to achieve a lot of great things And at the end of the day, it also comes down to having uh, confidence, confidence in yourself, confidence in the things that you can accomplish, confidence and being your own cheerleader. And as I said a little while back during this show, is that while you can have your the best support system and your family and having all those cheerleaders push you up, if you're not your own self cheerleader, cancel Christmas. You're not going to be able to do it, because at the end of the day, where your focus goes, energy flows. So, try being your own best cheerleader. And if you're having a struggle, or sometimes you get in your head, put a as if Dr. Yvonne said once, put it against the jury. How true is this? Is this true? Again, your mind is very powerful, and it's going to play tricks on you. They did a study way back, a few years after 9/11, actually about 10 years after 9/11. And what they discovered is that they interview a bunch of different people as to the events that happened. And one of the ones that jumps out at me in the story I'm sharing is that there was this young lady, and she happened to be, I believe, in elementary or kindergarten or something like that. And she was saying, "Yes, I remember that. I was in school, and we looked across the bay, and we saw the smoke, and then the teacher turned on the TV, and so on and so forth." And what they discovered is that they went back, obviously, as part of the study, is they looked where she was going to school or any of that stuff. Her school was nowhere near the bay, the river, and they couldn't see, across the bay, on the other side. Nowhere near could they see it. Again, because our mind is so powerful that sometimes, because our brain and we keep changing, my brain or my mind, it's not the same as it was yesterday. Hell, it wasn't the same as a minute ago. So but your brain, in certain areas, it'll start patching up the holes in the cheese and fill it in with some where you think that, oh yeah, that stuff really happened. You know what I'm saying? So if you tap into that stuff and use it for positive, you'll be able to achieve many great things, folks. I guarantee it 100%. Doesn't mean that we're perfect, because you're gonna mess up, and you're gonna make mistakes. But again, get back in there and say, all right, how true is this stuff? Nope, that's not true. Blah blah. Let's make this stuff happen. So this year, everybody, your homework is to get to know thyself, and put it, your homework is to, if you're struggling with something, put it against the jury. Try your PTSD. And if you're having issues with PTSD, how true is this, and how is that we can make it better? Flip the script on yourself. Doesn't mean that, and if you that you're going to, use your therapist and all those other tools. But let's try to make this year a better year, where where we're better off by next year, or next towards the end of this year's show. We'll do a recap, and I want to see some really cool stories and some really awesome stuff right here on the chat. And let's grow this bad boy, and let's pass this information. By the way, putting the word out there, we have a lot of good stuff coming down the pipeline. There's a channel coming, being opened up. So let's on finances and such, but more to follow here. I don't want to give too much, but there's a lot of good stuff. So hey, I just want to say thank you so much. If you've been struggling with PTSD and all those other bad stuff that we've been talking about, reach out to our show, TRICARE, VA, suicide hotline, because as many push-up challenges and water bucket challenges are out there, it's not going to replace you. So we need you here, and we need you supporting our show, and we need you talking and putting some awesome comments on the show. So with that being said, everybody, we're going to go ahead and index. Daisuke, Aistumas. I'll see you later next week. Yacht, get some.